This is The Beige and The Bold, and today we are watching Time's Arrow, Part 1. I'm Van Velding, and I watched this episode when it originally aired.
And I'm Derek. This is my first time watching this episode.
You ready?
Yep.
And 3, 2, 1, engage. So we're back at Earth. We just got a call. We had to go to Earth.
Yeah.
For
it's been mysterious, and I want to point out that it was a priority mission and they haven't been told anything. Almost like it's classified. I bring that up because Jordy's going to just not even keep that a secret.
They're like, look, oh my god, Enterprise, oh my god, come here, oh my god, you gotta
so
see
funny.
this. I was like, uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like, listen, we found some aliens. They appear to be olds.
Yeah, this is Dr. Barry's the lead, I can assume.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we went to the archaeological site. We found some, look at these period things we found at the archaeological site.
Yeah. And like, here's the thing.
Damn it.
He's like, I love archaeology. All these old things. And what does that say?
See.
With love, 13...
Yeah,
anyway,
it's got the date on it, but the initials, I believe, are for Samuel Clemens.
Oh, okay. What I think would have been funny is that we got, like, dropped into this kind of narrative when the Doctor met Data, and he just got super uncomfortable but didn't say anything. He's like, I don't
think he'd bring Data. I just... Like, they didn't even send them a briefing. They're just like, look, bring a guy down with a tricorder. It's like, holy crap, triolic waves. Like, yeah.
Yeah, we've never heard about these before.
We had a science team come through here before. They did all this stuff. We didn't want to tell you. We just thought it'd be more organic if you explored it yourselves. You know?
In addition to being Dr. McBarry's the lead, my middle name is Drama Queen. Let me show you this one thing that we haven't disturbed. What?
Picard's like, this is Earth, right? We got like a lot of nerds on this planet. You don't need to call in 2 nerds from space to do this thing. Yeah. We're not doing an assist research mission, man. We're just chilling.
The other thing too that is kind of underused is you could totally use the holodeck for these kinds of things. Like, hey, I have a report about like this information that you need for this mission that you're about to do, and like, okay, cool, beam it to holodeck 1 and we'll like analyze it. Like not CSI style, but just kind of like you pick up a thing and then like you hear a recording. It's like, yeah, that's so and so from so and so thing. This is what we know about it. Yeah,
that'd be great. You could definitely use the holodecks as a communication device.
Yeah,
which this franchise eventually gets around to doing.
Oh, really? Yeah, because ostensibly you would think that that's what it is. Like that's what it became. The way movies became. Kind of the impetus for like video across the internet, and that like someone wanted to play a holodeck thing, and they're like, hey, you know what we could do? Break down the holodeck and send it over the internet, the space internet.
Sorry, all I can think about is Google Stadia, a holodeck.
Oh no, don't do that.
It's like, no, you don't have a holodeck. What you have is you emulate a holodeck from a subspace signal.
Yeah.
You don't actually get to have a holodeck.
And it's copyrighted. But, we don't have copyrights here because they're stupid and capitalistic. And this is Star Trek, baby.
Yeah. So, like it's a dramatic teaser, though.
Yeah, yeah. I get that. Also, we get not too long... Oh, no. This is like actually towards the end, I think. We get some really good short writing in this episode. Surprisingly.
Yeah, Troy does stuff.
Yeah, Troy does stuff that only Troy can do, huh? Guinan can't do that crap.
In an episode with Guinan.
Yes, this threw me for a loop. I'm like, whoa! Did Troy just she must have made a friend on the writing team or something.
Yeah. I like how they're just like, oh, the Enterprise is here. Maybe they should take it. What are the teams of archaeologists we have with decades of No. We should just give it to the Enterprise.
He's like, the team of Enterprise is just a bunch of everymen. We have teams that's all they do, all the time, every day. Nah, the Enterprise is probably better.
You know how every so often they have a medical emergency and they have to go to a starbase for that?
Yeah.
Like, they can't do everything. They have limited facilities.
Right.
But instead they're just going to give Data's head, admittedly, to the Enterprise.
Yeah, this is funny that everyone gets upset that Data's dead, and it's like, come on. Like, the other day, he was like just that android that you made stand in the corner for 3 hours and you forgot he existed. Now he's like an irreplaceable piece of equipment. Get out of here.
And Data died like a season or two ago, and everyone else is like, bummer.
Yep.
And Geordi's like, no, this will not stand. if the Riker from this episode was in that episode, Data's shuttle would have exploded. He'd be like, no! He would have like immediately risen up and pounded his fists on the wall.
Riker is Data. He is incensed. Like, it starts in this scene and it doesn't stop. I'm like, Riker, didn't you make like Data hold your trombone because you didn't want to touch the floor for like 3 hours at a poker game once? Like, come on. You called him, I just quote, a fancy bit of furniture.
Didn't you make Data your go-between for a romantic liaison during a social distancing incident? Like, come on. I just, Riker's so angry about this, and I just don't get it.
I like everyone else. Everyone else is believable. Like Troy, okay, fine. Like everyone else that's kind of like, even Worf, I would get. But Riker, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Like the story's like, we don't have no idea where this energy is from. No life forms like this on record. It's completely unknown to us. But we charted a microbe in NVIDIA 2 like 70 years ago. I
totally thought they were going to go to that place. Like they were going to go to microbe whatever and like see like what there was to see on that planet. But they don't, because I mean, it seems like they're doing, but like they do go back to Earth and do stuff because that's how we lose Data. Spoilers.
Well, the portal that Data went through is on NVIDIA 2. It just came out on Earth.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch that. I thought for some reason they were still on Earth because like they set up this whole like, hey, we were digging in a cave and we found this thing. Here are the artifacts of the thing. And I thought like just off screen there was the place where they were like examining. All right, that makes more sense.
Yeah. Here, Data's basically telling us about the plot of Highlander.
Yeah, and I mean it's kind of interesting. You know, it talks about mortality and like accepting death, and I think that's okay. It is a little weird that Geordi never thought about this. About like his friend, like he could live for as he says an unlimited amount of time, and. Yeah. Yeah, it's called the prize, Data. You get the prize. And
I don't believe that there was never a moment where they're in the holodeck together on a grassy knoll with a tent somewhere, and George's like, "Hey, Data, you think you're ever gonna die?" And Data's like, "I don't know, man. Maybe."
Yeah. So this is what I was talking about before, or we're about to get up. So like Geordi's like, I'm not going to my station yet. I got to finish my drink. And Guyan's like, hey man, that's intense. Oh yeah, man, we just totally got back from this super top secret organization where time's involved and Data's dead already. Oh man, it's crazy.
And Guinan has like a noticeable reaction to this.
Yeah.
And Geordi's like, well, I'm gonna finish my drink and go. See you later, Guinan.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you, face blind as well? I mean, she's been affected by this, buddy.
Yeah, but I mean, Guinan does do a good job of creating kind of like a mystique to where like her being weird in any conversation is like acceptable.
Yeah.
Look how stiff he is. I do like that they're doing the walk each other like they're friends, right? And like she's a counselor, but she's also like a person that they talk to each other, and like he's doing a lot of like I'm not angry acting, and he's doing a good job.
It's great.
Yeah.
I like that he goes, I'm not angry. And then he realizes how stupid it is to say that to Troy.
Yeah.
For like a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, right, I mean.
Well, I think it's like, you know, I can't smell. And so people feel like, it's one of those things that it's hard to notice if someone can't smell. And so I would imagine like being an empath is similar, where it's all like you're used to saying like denying a thing is like, I do it, I know. And you're like, oh yeah, damn. I forgot you're an empath.
Yeah. So, and whenever she quotes Data's take on friendship, that is from a previous episode, Legacy, nice. I think, with Tashiar's sister.
Yeah.
So, and this
ooh, it's like someone who has brain cancer and
I like his 1,000-yard stare here. He's very Android in this episode, but we also see a lot of how far he's come.
Yeah. And we get a lot of pretty kind of fun, like that eye, the way he he did his eyes first and then he started moving his head and stuff. We did a lot of really good physical acting from Brent Spiner, and he's a treasure. Yeah. I love him.
Yeah. And so everyone's on edge about Data dying, which is reasonable.
Yeah.
And then Data's like, you guys all seem on edge about something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course...
And, like, I don't agree with Troy here, saying it's not a very nice thing to do. Like, okay, so what are you going to do? Like, say, the nicer thing would have been, it's like, hey, what were you guys talking about? Like, oh, you know how you're about to die and stuff? Like...
I mean, I don't know if there's a social convention for it.
Right.
And they use the Data speak on Data, and then Data uses the human version of the speak on them.
Yeah, it's kind of cute.
It's a nice moment where, again, Data's come really far.
Yeah, it showcases how far he's come. And so that's good that we kind of get that. Yeah, I guess I looked down or something when we were like in orbit of that planet, so I think I lost all that kind of stuff. Take note about who's on the bridge here, because it's about to get vacated.
Yeah, it's like 5 people.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they're gonna do an away team here, and Data's filling us in. It's like, yep, it's trialic waves, whoa, the trialic waves and the temporal are in the same area. It's like, yeah, this is what we expected, isn't it? Didn't we all expect that? Didn't we assume this was related?
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, all right, take it away team. He's like, everyone but Data, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that Data's like, oh, Data can't go.
But Data wants to go. And like
right
here...
Man. He's walking.
Yeah. Right here, I thought like no one was there. And I was like, he's like, well, what about Johnson in the back? He's like, I don't trust Johnson. All right, well, let's go to my office.
Yeah, it's one
Johnson's
guy.
Like, oh.
Yeah, he's just holding down the bridge right now.
Yeah, dude.
And Data says it's standard procedure for the second officer to accompany. I don't think so. I think it's standard procedure for you to accompany the away team.
Yeah, like we actually get that called out later, and it's so fun. Like, it's hard for a guy that says, yeah, so I know it's not common for captains to go on away team missions, but God, do you not know who you're talking to? Every captain we're familiar with of the Enterprise has gone on away team missions, like at the drop of a hat.
Data's like, this isn't irrational. It's going to happen inevitably. Therefore, we should just let it happen. And Picard's like, we can actually be prudent and just let it happen later, man.
Yeah.
So just, stay on the bridge. Be valuable on the bridge. We don't got to like get maneuvered into this until we have to get maneuvered into it. Yeah,
and this is another case where you can argue. I think that Data has emotions here. He has emotions of feeling left out, like he's not, like he doesn't belong. Being excluded, and I think that that's valid, but we're not really going to talk about that here.
Yeah, and like this whole away team is premised on the fact that Data's head is related to this strange phenomena.
Yeah, and
so because time travel and predestination paradoxes, you don't put Data down there because the rest of the crew is competent. Presumably, and I know it's not the case, but presumably a crew can just shift personnel around and make people redundant, Yeah. Like, no one has a monopoly on being good at their job.
Yeah, but it is funny how, like, it just... One away team like this because we've seen this composition before, could just cut the head off of the Enterprise. Just straight up. Just bam.
Quite literally.
Yeah. So here, look at this. We're getting some good Troy lines that only Troy can do.
Yeah. Troy is she's sensing people in the weird chamber with the trialic waves and the
and the fog for some reason.
And the fog for some reason. She's giving us more information that pushes us in the right direction and that deepens our intrigue. But it doesn't necessarily solve everything straight up.
Yeah,
it's great.
It would be great if we could have that more often.
Yeah, we are like 6 years past due on that.
I know, right? I imagine like just one writer was like sleeping and he's like, I got it. We just write Troy lines that give us some information that pushes the plot along, of course.
Yeah.
Also,
so we discovered that. Yeah,
it's like I was just saying, like it's funny here that we're about to like. It's like, oh man, we don't have any sort of sensor that's that sensitive. It's like, well, actually, that's not true. My brain, bam, linchpin, baby. I gotta go down.
Yup. And I like that. I like it sometimes whenever I read novels, I'll read like the last page of it. And that's not like spoilerific because it's just so weird. You just see where things end up.
Oh, you want to see how you get there kind of deal?
Right. And it's interesting as you watch, as you read, like things start falling into place one by one.
See, I like to figure stuff out, so like I want to be surprised, and like as I'm reading, like I'm trying to kind of piece it together, and if I already know the end, that kind of ruins that, I guess, enjoyment I get. I do like how Picard here is like, even though this is a thing that could be the reason and is the reason Data goes back in time, he's still willing to let this happen. Like, he doesn't say, like, no, F this, we're leaving. We're going to put Data in a box and he's never going to die ever.
Yeah, like, they put Data, they're worried about Data, and yet they put Data into this away team mission, but they don't know that there's necessarily anything dangerous happening.
Yeah.
They're like, there's no urgency to this mission. It's just a scientific mission to explain trialic waves.
That's the weirdest thing about this particular bit is like Data's like, bam, I got the best sensor in the world. Let me go down there. And then Picard could have totally countered with, or we don't have to do this. We don't have to rush this. We can use the thing in your brain to reverse engineer something. And then we all can look at stuff, and we can look at stuff while you're still on the bridge. Bam, got you, Data. But we don't get that.
Yeah. I like the Data's like, I've configured my communicator so that I can speak with you from the different phase. Yeah. And Riker's like, can we talk back? And Data's like, no. And Riker's like, why'd you pause? Well, I could. And Riker's like, wait, will it change my desktop? It's like, yes, it would change your desktop. All right then, Data. Just let us know how it turns out. Yeah. So yeah. And Geordi's like, well, we got to go out of phase. It's like, damn, Geordi, didn't you just get back in phase?
I know, like they're doing this kind of like I want to believe that the writers had like they had some better thoughts about how that episode went down, and they're like, okay, like maybe we need to do things a little bit better. I love the panning that we get here. So this is all just Data talking about stuff, but how we're panning and how we're moving the camera gives a sense of progression. And that's good. This is how you do kind of like this kind of talky bit where...
It's so good.
Yeah, so I really like this bit of cinematography. I think you don't lose anything. You still have a muted sense of action, and you're also kind of in the theater of the mind that Data creates for us with his audio.
Yeah, like you're holding by a thread. Like Data's here, he's connected to us by his words alone. We can see, we know Data's in trouble, and he's getting further from us.
Yeah, it's very like we sent that one dude in a dive suit, and like we only have his audio. He can't talk to us. Yeah,
it's great. We're practically reading an audio log of a character who's already dead. And it's like, and we know it's going to happen. We know it's going to happen. Yeah. Like, it's no surprise at all to us whenever we lose Data. I mean, correct me on this.
Yeah, no. I was not surprised at all. The only people that were surprised were the actors on screen.
They actually threw Brent Spiner into a temporal vortex to simulate this shot. But it's great. And I just... Like, usually they just show us the aliens. And we're given some really exotic aliens. Yeah. And they don't show them to us. Data just describes them. It's great.
So, another thing, too, is that when we lose a character, I feel, and like I haven't done the research on this, but I feel that a lot of the times what happens when we lose a character is we jump right back to Starship Enterprise. We don't stay with that character that we think is dead, but is really alive. And... Yeah. In this scene, we actually do that. Like, you don't know what's going on with Starfleet. We stay with Data, and it keeps the narrative because we had that audio where, what happened, whatever, and there's an explosion, and then we stay with Data, so we keep that thread intact. And then only at like a good breaking point do we pull out of it. And I think that's a good bit because you don't want to break this kind of stuff up because I feel like you lose some of the impact that it would have.
We don't, we release our tension. We're not holding our tension at this point.
Yeah.
And I'll get to tension and cliffhangers in a bit here. Yeah. But, we go right into the fish out of water. How does Data adapt to this?
I've seen this actor before. I think he's been
Maybe.
like a police chief or something in like a sitcom. Like he looked very familiar.
Fair enough. He's got a distinctive face. I didn't get the name of the actor.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a very simple character in terms of
Yeah.
a character who's motivated to reach out to others.
Yeah.
And who's a little cagey, who tells us about what the time is like.
Yeah.
But who still helps our main character.
Yeah, he's telling them all about like, you know, the ins and outs of panhandling. But I mean, what's interesting is how the little bits of like Data, he's not worried about money. He's like, oh, I don't have any legal tender, as if that would be a problem. And I mean, you know, he comes from a place where it's like, yeah, no, we don't do legal tender. So I didn't get how important money is. I'm looking for information. But eventually he starts seeing some constraints. Like he wants to do a thing and he's like, yeah, you're going to need to give me some money. And he's like, oh crap. Like I keep forgetting. He's like, you are a weird one. You don't want money, but you want a snake.
Yeah. I mean, everything he's processing is through the lens of this is a fellow panhandler now. He feels that he's sized up Data and he's working on it. And Data's like, look, man, you're coughing. You need medical attention. Is it the coronavirus? And the old guy's like, nah, I'm already kind of screwed up. And you know, when he panhandles, he's like, I got to treat my condition with large amounts of whiskey. I'm like, well, yeah, I get you, man.
Don't have that.
Yeah.
In a simpler time where giving someone like 40 cents wasn't an insult.
Yeah. I like it. I thought this was like a soundstage, but this is apparently shot on location in San Francisco.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because it looks like a soundstage, but it's pretty nice.
Yeah, so. I do like this character of the bellhop. I think is pretty well done. You know, his like physical acting isn't the best, but I mean he's up against Brent Spiner. You shouldn't see with this dude. Come on.
Yeah. Also, we mentioned Data says he's looking for a snake, so people assume a person assumes that he is French. Yeah. So then Data rolls up with the "I come from France" line. Which is,
I mean, classic alien bits, right? I come from France.
It works on a few levels.
Yeah, and I kind of want to know more about French history now that this line is supposed to work. I want to know, like, why did everyone consider them so weird?
He's just from Europe, man. What do they know about Europe? A bunch of stereotypes. That's it.
Yeah, I guess so. He's like, ooh, poker. I know how to play poker. Apparently,
in the basement of the hotel, people are playing poker. A guy comes out as Data's trying to get a hotel room, and then bam, he's dropped into a poker game. This is great. So, this guy you've probably seen before, the guy with the crazy sideburns who's getting cleaned out.
Yeah.
He's familiar. This guy here is called Mark Alamo. He's been in Star Trek twice before. He played a Romulan in season 1, and he played an alien under a bunch of makeup in season 2, I think.
Okay, interesting. We get the stereotypical Indian line of pale face, but you know it's okay, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, admittedly though, like they put it into a slightly more reasonable context. Yeah. Data's face is pale.
I mean, it's green too. So
fair enough. But anyway, but this guy also played our Cardassian in the episode where the Federation captain goes rogue, and he's the Cardassian in it.
Yeah. I forgot, so this is another thing where he's like, hey, look, he's got to ante up. And I forgot that the communicators were made of gold, so he uses it as his... I guess like the guy buys it off of him, and I guess he wins it back. Or I don't know if we see him with it later. I forgot.
Considering the fact that he walks away with the feathered bowler and the vest that two of these guys are wearing, I think Data messes them up pretty solidly.
Yeah, he does. Hey, what are the pips made out of? Do you know? Are they also gold?
I don't know.
Because I'm about to say that would have been something, huh? It's like, hey, look, here's 2 like grams of gold. How do you like them apples?
Yeah. So, and it's just great that, you know, this is organic to the character of Data. He knows French because he knows Picard. He's experienced playing poker, even against, you know, experienced players.
He's got that.
Like,
he's got that. Just like I just walks in there with the hat and the vest. Like, it totally doesn't even match, but he's like, and you have to know that, like, he's like, oh, yeah, I got this vest from a France, blah, 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 and it's definitely worth $50. He's like, yeah, sure, use it as collateral. I don't care. Bam, I win.
Yeah. Again, it's just great that what Data does for fun in the future is something that's actually, they're not just messing around. They're not like playing kids league. They're playing fairly competitive poker. It's just not for money.
Well, I mean, it's all math. It's all math and statistics, and Data can do that at the drop of a hat. I mean, he's essentially like, if they knew that he had a computer in a casino, he'd get kicked out every time. I like this. The hand dry. He's like, oh yeah, man.
Yeah, because the bellhop is helping him into his room, and he wants a tip.
And then he's like, oh yeah, no, I totally like ran into a dude that was coughing. You should monitor that cough. It's things are messed up here.
Well, he mentions the cholera epidemic, which is actually going to be important later.
Okay, interesting.
I mean, not to spoil anything, but we understand the aliens are doing harmful stuff. So the cholera epidemic is the cover under which they're operating.
Ah, okay. I didn't catch that, but yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's in this part. I think I'm spoiling for it.
Yeah, that's fair. I do like how he just never stops. You know, he's kind of relentless in his pursuit of like building up the things that he needs to complete his mission. You know, and that's kind of what is attractive about Data's character in this episode. Well, not the Data character in this episode, in this situation, is that he knows enough about science. He knows enough about certain things that he can use in this situation to better his circumstances, and not better them so he can take advantage of people, but better them so he can complete a mission. Yeah,
he has a genuine purpose here, and we are calling back to Kirk and Spock, doing things with stone knives and bear skins.
Yeah, sure.
When they were trapped in the past. And speaking of characters who don't stop, I thought you were talking about the bellhop, because he does not stop. He is always on this stuff. He's a hustler, man.
Oh yeah, dude. He is. And it's kind of funny because he will later kind of give this talk about like, oh, I'm just waiting for my ship to come in, and that's a very American line, and it's also kind of an indictment, because fast forward to the 21st century, and we are still in a dire state of affairs in the United States of America, and a lot because people think that they don't want to put too much pressure on the rich, because when they happen to be rich, they don't want too much pressure on themselves, which is just a dumb thing.
So, but it's how we like to see this period of time.
Yeah, for sure.
A time of great hardship, but also great opportunity.
Right.
And it's if we're gonna do an episode where we're kind of having fun in that time period, apropos of nothing,
I would agree with that.
That's what we want to see, and this character embodies that.
So that was a good break. Data had some things that he needed to do. We introduced a new mystery, and now we're back to Riker yelling. He's so angry.
Sorry, all I can think about is the part of Rick and Morty when Bird Person dies.
Yeah,
because Bird Person, no, it's all I can think about what Riker doing right now.
So they're trying to figure things out, and they're like, "Oh man, we don't know what's happening." And he's like, "We have to presume he's dead." And he's like, "I'm not gonna believe he's dead." Blah, blah, blah. And then Geordi's like, "You know what I could do? I could just make one of them sensors that we need." He's like, "You could have done this the whole time."
Yeah, I feel like we're missing a line where Geordi's like, "Hey, because of the data we gained from Data going through the portal or whatever." I think I can simulate the phase variance he needs.
Yeah.
That way we're connected, and we're not just like Data. Geordi's like, I could have done it the whole time.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
I mean, like it's a kind of it. Yeah. Like, and you can have a generous read of the situation, realize maybe there was some things that he has now he didn't have before, but we don't have that spelled out for us, so it's very easy to read as, wait a minute, we didn't have to put Data in this whole situation. What the hell? Why are you even angry then?
Jordy's like, it's 11% odds, I can do exactly what Data did, just take an hour longer. Like, oh, thanks, Jordy.
I mean, I would have just liked them to reverse engineer what's in Data's head and then like done the thing. And then, like, even if you wanted to, or you could have, like, we talked about a little bit about this in the pre-roll, but like it would have been neat to like have Data where he got a message from himself in the past and was acting a little weird and cagey, and he just insisting that he had to be there because he knew he had to go to the past or else it would break something up.
It's a good plan. We brush over it, but Worf there is like, hey, look, bro, if we go back in time with him and die in that cave,
we're done.
We'd be dust by now. Like, I don't think it necessarily works that way unless Worf is a fan of researching bodily decomposition in ancient caves for certain environmental conditions. Which, hey, guys gotta have a hobby. But
I'm like 500.
reasonable.
I'm like 500 years. You wouldn't be dust. Yeah, I mean, there wouldn't be a lot of you, but you wouldn't be dust.
Yeah. So we'll see.
But this is kind of interesting here. Good.
Yeah, linchpin scene. Between
and
Guinan
so,
and Picard.
what Guinan's doing a bit of showmanship here as well.
Yeah.
She knows things that she's not telling us, and she's doing this very elaborate something aperitif, just so she can like use it as a punchline to a bit of dialogue.
It's presentation, Derek.
Yeah, I know.
She's making a drink that's designed to evaporate as a person drinks it in their mouth, which is a pretty cool idea.
Yes.
And it's a very delicate solution.
Yeah.
And so when she's like, "Hey, Picard, I have some notes on away team composition."
Yeah.
She explains the delicateness of this situation through the metaphor of the drink here.
Yeah. And I mean, it's whatever. I like how, but I mean, she is trying to like break, like, she's like, "Hey, look, we knew each other before, but I can't tell you that." And apparently she knew that the whole time. Like she, even when she first quote met Picard, whenever that is, she had met him before. She just didn't like really like, let him in on that for however long they've known each other. So, I mean,
yeah. And that's the interesting thing that, like, it's a classic time travel thing. Someone meets you before you meet them, but we never, well, we'll get to it. Yeah. So, like, it's really cool. Like, I don't need the link between Picard and Guinan to be demystified.
Yeah, me either.
But it looks like we're going to get it, and maybe we'll have some fun while we're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, this is kind of a little bit of just kind of a good Brent Spiner acting, and also Data forgetting that he's among normies. He's like,
it's great.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, because he's ordered an anvil, and Jack Anvil hurts himself.
And just to let you know about that, like, he can't play it like, ooh, whoopsie, and drop it as you would normally. He has to play it like an android who realizes that he couldn't do it, and also behave in an android way. And I mean, that's good. It's really good bit of acting there. And this is where we get Hustle McHustles a lot, ready for his boat to come in.
He comes in and is like, "What about these horseless carriages? Do you think they're going to take off?" I'm like, all right, Star Trek TNG, let up a little bit. Just take your foot off the gas a tiny bit. Yeah. But,
and I like how this dude is like, "Man, we could be partners. I mean, you do everything, but I could be there too, right?"
I could do marketing.
Yeah. Just a little fun fact, kids. Never let anyone join your partnership if they don't have a clear value add. Even if they just say, "I'm a salesman," don't believe that crap.
Yeah. But he's got a lot of hustle, and that's part of his character. He's endearing in his own way. Yeah, he is endearing in his own way. So, yeah, he's talking about a ship. He doesn't have a ship for any kind of reason. I think he just wants to succeed, I guess. Yeah. Like, he doesn't have a girl or family or a sick grandfather or anything like that. I also don't know what an oyster pirate is. I don't know what an oyster pirate is either. I actually did some Wikipedia work for this. I didn't delve that deep.
That's fair.
But oysters come up later in this episode.
Interesting. What I love about this is that so this guy gives Data the hard sell, and Data does I think an excellent way of letting him down. He's like, "I think that's a little premature," and then he doesn't. He just lets it drop. He's like, "All right, gonna get back to my work now." And I think that's good. He's like, "If you want to sell me, you got to keep selling," kind of deal. And like, as a salesperson, he's gonna try to do that. See, he's still doing it. It's partner,
It's great. Yeah. It's Data can eat. He just chooses not to.
Also, he ruined that croissant, by the way. The whole point of a croissant is for it to be fluffy, not to be flat. What a dummy.
Hey, it's from Europe, man. Right? The croissant's from Europe?
No, they're from France.
Okay. Hence the name, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, I like that we see another part of this society. Yeah. And I just... I swear to God, they're telling us more about this century than they ever have the 24th.
I know! That's one thing that's a little frustrating about it. Although it's hard to be frustrated when you see a Samuel Clemens, aka Mark Twain, impersonator like this guy. He's rather charming, and I want to believe that you had a whole bunch of like rich people in like a nice room, and that you gave them like food and drink and cigars, but they were all just uninteresting and stuffy. So you wanted to invite someone like Mark Twain to like rabble rouse and to get people talking and to get the party going. And
yeah.
I would love that. It's almost like he's doing like a bit, like he's got like a stand-up comedy kind of bit that he's doing.
Yeah, it could be. He maybe he's doing a book signing.
Yeah.
But I do like that he's a charismatic guy. He's very much what we imagine Samuel Clemens to be.
Yeah. And Guinan's eating it up for sure. He's like, "Oh man, I love this dude."
I mean, yeah. And this is obviously a very different Guinan than the Guinan we're used to.
Yeah. But she knows better. I mean, she's still an alien. She's still from a different world. She's still long-lived. But she likes this monkey kind of jumping around, like pretending like it knows what it's talking about.
Yeah. Well, like in this era, the belief was that the world was about 10 million years old.
Yeah.
I guess we were digging a lot of canals, so there were a lot of strata.
Yeah.
That we were looking at, and we had to explain the strata, and not just that, but we had to explain why they weren't straight.
Right.
How they were tilted and changed. So we're like, well, maybe the world is undergoing very slow geological processes that actually cause the Earth itself to churn.
Yeah.
And then, you crunch some numbers on that, and you're like, yeah, 10 million at least.
Yeah.
So it's science that's contemporary of the time, and that even people in the 19th century are on top of.
Yeah. And this dude's like breaking it up. He's like saying like 10 million at least, but I'm saying like even the oyster took 15 million years just to get right. And that's before humans is kind of the implication. And she's kind of like being coy, which is good.
Yeah, and he has this egotistical bent to his character. I think we were talking about these egotistical exceptionalists, your House MDs and your Sherlocks by way of the BBC type characters. And he has a flair of that, where he's educated, but he also believes humanity is important and it has to be exceptional.
Man, I would kill for like this kind of life. Like this is my like just every day being around like people that have interesting conversations. Oh man, that would just be my jam. I would love it so much. And when I was a kid, I thought this was way more common, and now that I'm an adult, I am deeply, deeply disappointed.
Yeah. Most people use conversation as a vector to spread ideology.
Right.
But, I like, he's clever because he ends that with this hypothetical person isn't me.
Yeah.
And it's a nice digression. Not digression, but...
And so here we have Data, who's like kind of like trying to get past the bouncer, essentially. And it's just kind of like, hey, listen, man, I got to talk to Guinan. And he's like, yeah, but you're not on the list, dude. He's like, listen, I can rip you in half like a phone book, all right? Like, let me just go.
Yeah.
But like, look at this snooty dude. Like, what are you going to do, man? Like, y'all even the same height, but Data's way stronger than you.
It's his job. It's what he's doing. He's like, I'm going to call the police. And Data's like, yo.
Yeah, go for it. I do like that. He's like, oh yeah, go summon the police without a telephone. That'll buy me the minutes I need.
And then he fakes the dude out. It's great.
Yeah.
So great. Breaking his ankles? Is that what the cool people call it?
I'm not familiar.
Okay.
But I mean, this is kind of great where it's like Data. I don't know why he would make this assumption that it was like the same Guinan. I mean, I get that when he saw the paper, he's like, oh man, Guinan's here. I mean, it's my Guinan. But he knew enough about Guinan to know that she's long lived, so it's not out of the ordinary that this would be a different Guinan. And then we get some good acting from Whoopi Goldberg here, when she's like, "This is like classic Whoopi. Like what she just did is not Guinan acting. That's just classic Whoopi Goldberg acting." Yeah,
because Data's like, "Hey, look, come on, we were on a ship together." She's like, "Ship?" She's like, "Starship," and she's like, "Oh." Yeah. And he tells her that he's an android, and she's like, "Oh my god, did my dad send you?" And it's like,
yeah,
that tells us so much about Guinan and her people of this era.
Yeah,
before
and
they were
she doesn't have like that sense of loneliness that she normally. She's just kind of like a kid almost. Like she's like, yeah, no, I'm just chilling out here on Earth. Tell my dad I'm not ready to go home yet, kind of deal. Yeah. So I mean, living long lived, even if you're like 500 years old, if you can live like 1,000 years, you're still kind of like, midlife or maybe even earlier, depending.
Yeah.
But I like that. So they're having this very,
Yeah,
I guess,
expository scene
right,
where they explain everything that's happening.
And of course, Samuel Clemens would be the dude that's like, Starship, huh? That sounds like it could be something legit.
Yeah, because he mentions a starship, and they don't explain that.
Yeah,
they just kind of run off.
And everyone else,
exotic woman, and
everyone else is
this
just
exotic
chilling.
dude.
Yeah, but leave it to Mark Twain to be like, I want to know more about the starship.
Yeah. He's intrigued. He's a curious soul.
Yeah, and I like curiosity. I like people who are curious. It's good stuff.
It's a nice character. So that's kind of our cliffhanger here.
Yeah,
and
for that line
now we run into
of story.
Yeah. So we
always kind of, these are like the field replicator things. These are the things that we always get when we need to do a field that affects multiple people, right?
Yeah. They do add an effect here, which I'm a big fan of, and I don't know why exactly. Because I guess we're building up. I think we know where this is going.
Yeah.
I don't know when you realized where this was going.
Yeah, I knew where this is going. I knew they were going to go back for sure. Especially like probably right when Guinan said, "Hey, you got to be down there." I'm like, all right, they're all gonna be in old timey garb, like trying to solve this mystery. Like that's a little laser. That's kind of a classic Star Trek thing, unfortunately. And I like how he's like, everyone's trying to, is like, hey, listen, we need the alien that is the least passable to not be part of our group right now.
Yeah, like we don't know we're going back in time, but for some reason, I've picked Worf to do the thing. I'm like, I'm sorry, Worf.
Yeah,
like it's just. A thing.
We could have put like we could have put something on him, like a bandana or a hat or something. It just would have been fine. Like I don't.
Yeah,
it's whatever. But yeah. So this is the cinematography work up like in this scene that set up this scene. The way they were panning and moving in and kind of coming out some is really good, and it definitely works well with kind of like this kind of tense, soft music that we have. We're really about to set up like some weird stuff, which is great because I love weird stuff.
Appreciably weird, yeah.
And Star Trek doesn't do weird stuff the way I think of weird stuff, but this is a scene of weird stuff how I think weird stuff.
Yeah, well, I absolutely love the little lasers that they go in, and we kind of see that we're building up to this. It's very natural, where one by one everybody comes into it. Yeah. But I think one reason we don't think that Star Trek does weird stuff is because I think when Star Trek does stuff that's not weird, it just becomes de rigueur. Like when Star Trek does it, it's weird, but then it just becomes what we expect.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of those episodes with almost zero cultural traction.
Right.
For one reason or another. So this stuff still does seem weird.
Yeah.
But we're used to the forehead aliens, we're used to the time travel stories.
Right,
so those don't seem unusual to us at all.
Yeah, I like this is like firstly, we're about to get a great bit of Troy here. She's like, "Oh no, I misunderstood," and we're getting like now we have dialogue from Troy doing something only Troy can do, and it's deepening our mystery, providing some genuine horror to this scene. And man, like she could do this all the time. She doesn't.
Yeah. If we would make scenarios alien enough to let her do it.
Yeah.
And the only way we can interpret it is through this empathic trace.
Right. And so what's wild is like she's like, "Hey, listen, this is a prison." Like basically the read is, "This is a prison for souls. Someone collected a whole bunch of souls. We don't know what it is, but they're trapped and they can't get out." And Geordi's like, "Okay, that's weird." And then he's interrupted by two people adding souls to the mix, meaning they just harvested them. And that's like the whoa kind of moment. Like this is a level of gritty that you don't normally get in Star Trek, I would say. Yeah.
We understand these folks are, usually whenever aliens are killing humans to feed, we kind of understand where they're coming from. And I don't know that we're doing that here. We're just saying, well, they're a threat. Yeah. Let's figure it out.
And this thing kind of has a setup. I don't know if this was by design or not, but all of the guys in a circle and the paths that the energy fragment take is very Opium Den-ish. So you almost kind of get the sense that they're just like all getting high. And then out of nowhere, Picard's like, "Hey, let's go into this weird hole."
Yep. Let's make this happen.
Everybody
wants to find data, man.
Yeah. And I guess it just works. By the way, cutting off the head of the Enterprise, that just happened.
Yeah. It's just Worf now.
It's just Worf.
Worf was like, let's do some more, guys. So yeah, Time's Arrow, part 1.
This was a fun episode. I enjoyed it. Not considering, the little problems with how we got to time travel. I felt like we could have definitely didn't need to throw data in the mix. We could have, if we had to throw data, we could have done a little bit differently. This is fun. I don't like time travel in Star Trek thus far, but this looks like it could be the best. It has enough to be, I would say, the best time travel episode in Star Trek yet. So this will be interesting to see how it plays out.
Fair enough. We will see next week, and until then, remember Rand. I'll make this short because no one likes credits. Star Trek is property of CBS Television Studios and Paramount Pictures. We are watching Star Trek on Netflix. We are talking over Discord, and we are recording and editing on Audacity. The Beige and The Bold is hosted on Anchor and can be found on most podcasting platforms. I would also like to thank our senior officer Patreons for supporting The Beige and The Bold. They also make video editions of this podcast and remasters of old episodes possible. So thank you to Tracker by Moonlight and Miss Jess. If you have any questions or concerns about the show, please contact me at vanvelding@gmail.com or on Twitter @vanvelding. Thank you, and remember Rand.